We've already covered functions in Module 5, but let's do it again and review another function that's going to help us calculate park factors, make it generalizable to different offensive statistics, and make it generalizable to different teams, using, of course, the RetroSheet game logs database. The function statement defines a function. You give it an argument list, then you return a value for the function. So we're calling a new function pfstat, park factor statistics, and the function is going to take a team name, so for example Boston or Cleveland or Colorado or whatever team you want, the stat you want to check like home runs, and then the data frame that holds the data. And the data frame has to be pretty consistent. It's got to come from the games table. It's got to have the names that we expect. So we're going to assume certain names. First thing we're going to do is the two commands we already ran, create new subsets of the data frame. We get this data frame passed. We're going to create subsets of the data frame just like we did above. Then we're going to build strings that are going to look like home stat with a separator of an underscore. We're going to create home underscore stat. So that would be home underscore home run, or visitor underscore home run. Let's look at the data frame. Remember, this is the data frame that comes from the SQL Sandbox. Here is the column name that we're going to try to search for. Visitor underscore home run. Home underscore home run. So we're going to create a string by pasting together some text. Home underscore, and then in our case we're going to pass it a stat. We're going to assume home run. That's what we're going to pass it. We're going to create two new strings. Now those two new strings are going to be used in that previous formula that we did before. This is the formula we set up before. We're going to use the trick again to count the number of games, the count if statement, based on the team that was passed to the function. And then we're going to just return a park factor. The park ratio divided by the away ratio times 100 gets returned whenever I call this new function, pf underscore stat, and I pass the team along, the statistic I want to do the park factor for, and the data frame along that I'm using, I can now calculate park factors. So let's see if this works. We're going to pass that function pfstat Boston, which is the team, text for the team name, home run, which is what we want to look at, and then the data frame we've set up, Sox home run, that we've set up earlier in a previous statement in R. Run the pfstat function and assign it to a new variable. And then we're going to do another function here called stop if not. It's going to compare our previous number here, which we can look at, Sox underscore home run underscore park factor is 92.68. And we're going to test to see if it's equal to this new variable that we've established after running the function. So if the function does the same thing as we did above, then we're going to be happy. So first we have to do the R code. We've got to run the R code that tells R to establish this function within the R Studio environment. So let's run that. We can see in our console down here that it was run. We ran the statement pfstat function. So we created now a new function pfstat. And it's going to return the park factor. Hopefully it does what we want. And let's test it. Let's test it by running this code here. And we should see that these two numbers are exactly the same, and they are. The first park factor that we ran without the function is equal to the park factor with the function. Now this is going to test it very carefully. Stop if not function. Let's run that. It ran just fine, so it didn't stop, which means these variables are exactly the same to many significant digits. Finally, before we end this, let's change it up. Remember, what we put into our SQL query was also Cleveland. Let's see if we can put in Cleveland into our new function that's more generalized, put in home run, and put in our data frame, pass it to the function, and see what we get back as a park factor. Okay, so let's run that code. Now we have a Cleveland park factor here. We can just type it in. It's 91.85. That's what we show up here as well in the global environment. It's a different park factor. The exercise for the student, even before you do your assessment, is to try to do this for Colorado to show that the Colorado home run park factor is actually above 100. This is an introduction to functions in R. We've established a small little function for you to use. We've described how to write the R code to do park factors. Now you can do park factors for any sets of years by running them through the SQL sandbox. If you need to, you can write some R code that does subsets of years as well. This can be used by the student learner any way they want to calculate park factors. So observe, explore, and bottom line, just have fun generating park factors.